So thank you very much. Let's come back to the slides. Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Thank you. So welcome to COPPEAD. As I told you, if you have any question, you can just put it on the chat. We have also some contacts here that can be used later for you to clarify any doubt or to get in touch with us. We can also discuss specific questions by the end of this session. I'm going to present you what is COPPEAD by the beginning. Then we are going to see the course structure, how we are organized, how can you apply to this full-time MBA, and also have some testimonials of alumni that are present here today. First of all, it's interesting to think about where we are, because we are in Brazil. What does it mean? That we are on the main entrance for the Latin American market, considering the whole world. If companies want to do business with Latin America, they used to start by Brazil. It's the fifth largest country in the world, considering the territorial extension. And it's also an important country if you consider the GDP. It's the ninth economy. Probably on the next year, there is a perspective that we go to the eighth position. So very good, strong economy. And the second largest economy in Latin America, in the American country. Of course, we are only losing this position to US, but we will arrive there. And we are also at Rio de Janeiro, a beautiful place, a wonderful place to live, very good temperature, a big city, with all the problems that we have on a big city, on some specificities regarding the Latin American country, but an amazing culture to live, a place where we have a cultural life very well developed. So for the guys that are not from Rio, you are going to enjoy very much the time that we spend here. And we are also part of the UFRJ, the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. That is a big university. In fact, it's the largest university in Brazil. It has around 70,000 students, 4,000 professors, recognized by the excellence in teaching and researching in Latin America. Considering the QS ranking, we are the third best university in Brazil also, and the university has more than 100 years, and we are very proud to be part of that university. And for us, it's very also useful because we have access to different areas of knowledge that you only have when you are part of a university. So for example, I can ask a professor from law, a professor from economics, a professor from biotech. Anyone that is part of the university can come here and collaborate also with our program. COPPEAD is a small school, is a boutique school that we call, based on excellence, based on taking care of every details of our program. And we are very focused on a strong relationship with our students, with our alumni. So really building in a community of COPPEADianos, that, as you call here, for people that studied here and recognize themselves as good professionals in the market. It's a school that completed last year 50 years. It was created, first of all, in the School of Engineering, when we needed to develop postgraduate business programs in Brazil. And then we started having an institute. When it grew up, we split that and created an institute and occupied a building here at the University City of Rio de Janeiro. We have, since the beginning, the tradition of basing our studies, our discussions on cases. We are a case-centered institution because we believe that the best way for you to assimilate the knowledge that we are discussing is applying the knowledge that are being transferred to you on a real case situation. So you need to think about, to argue with your colleagues, to make a reflection about the decision that you must make. So the assimilation is much better. So since the beginning, we developed the case study method at school, sending people abroad to learn how to use that method, also developing Brazilian cases because we know that sometimes this specificity of the market is also very interesting to be studied on real life. So that's why we had on NATIS, the Brazilian Center of Case Studies. We also have the Chair of Research program created since that time because we believe that a research that is done at COPPEAD needs to be really applicable to the market. So we have private companies sponsoring the research that we produce, and the research is aligned to the company's agenda. So it's a research that is really practical, really oriented to the market, and nothing that is going to be forgotten on a library or so on. We want to change and to change the world and to have impact with our research. In 2002 was the first time that we were mentioned on the Financial Times ranking. You'll know that it's a very competitive ranking because it puts together all the universities around the world. And this course specifically was listed 11 times. So we are also very proud of that. On 2014, it was the first time that we had a cohort totally taught in English at our school. We did this change because we used it to have a lot of exchange students, and we still have it, but we also need to receive regular students. When you're dealing with a case study, when you have a cultural diversity and people from different backgrounds discussing a case, the discussion used to be much higher because you have different perspective and someone analyzing the situation as you never thought about because you are from a different culture. So we appreciate very much to have foreign students also in our classrooms. And on 2022, we got the highest level from the Ministry of Education in Brazil. We got the level 7. It's a scale that goes from 3 to 7. And 7 is only for the very international programs recognized by excellence. And if you consider the whole federal system in Brazil, we are the only school for management that has this recognition. As I told you, the Financial Times already listed us 11 times. And when I talk to you that we are a boutique school, is because our portfolio is a very concentrated portfolio. We have on the stricto sensu program, the full-time MBA, because the full-time MBA here at COPPEAD, in fact, is a master's degree program. By the end of the course, you're going to receive an MSc degree. But when we created COPPEAD, we have been abroad to look different models of education, and the model that we believe more is the full-time MBA design, because you stay focused on your study and oriented to the market. So our program is a program where you're going to have the market orientation and the research together. We also have the PhD, that is the main arm for research at school. And one differentiation of COPPEAD is that the professors that work on the full-time MBA and also on the PhD also go to the lato sensu classrooms, to go to executive education, to get in touch with the market, to make consultants, to understand what are the main doubts that this public have. to bring this to the class to the classroom, to really develop research oriented to the market. So we have the Lato Sensu program oriented to that. We also have a participation on undergraduation for the UFRJ, but it's not our focus. COPPEAD is a graduate school of business. And we also have some extension programs, including the certification of programs that alumni COPPEAD have. Alumni is an association that we have here at COPPEAD that the main objective is to foster the relationship with our alumni. That means around 18,000 alumni, ex-students here inside our community. We have an engine of COPPEAD. How do we see everything and how the portfolio is connected? So we have the academic degree, doing research and bringing this research to the executive training program. The academic degree is also a lab for teaching because we test students also in the academic, from the academic degree on some executive program also. The executive training, by the other hand, it gives us the contact to the market and the best questions for us to study, because when you are on a very selected level when you have a very selected level of students in a classroom, the discussion used to be really good, and the questions that are made sometimes are very challenging for us. And it's interesting to see how the research can be complemented by this perspective. The chair of research is the private companies fostering the research at COPPEAD, sponsoring this research. We have active the L'Oréal company, the Grupo Globo, and the Amil, now UHG. And then we have all these other companies and other ones that are not listed here, but had already sponsored research here at our school. So it's a very interesting model because it's not just about the money that is being offered to the school to the development of this research. Is to think about which are the main challenges that these enterprises are facing to focus our research on. So, for example, I used it to be the chair from EMC, and after that, Dell chair. And then we were 10 years ago discussing how was the best way to implement big data projects at these enterprises or the enterprises that they have as clients, because we know that there are some specificities in the big data implementation. So we focused on our research on that. It was a 3 years program doing that kind of research. So it's a very applicable research and very useful to the market. The full-time MBA by itself is a high standard international program, tuition-free and fully taught in English. Sometimes when you see a foreign candidate, they could not understand how can it be tuition-free. It's tuition-free because the Brazilian law do not allow us to charge for the inscriptions on the full-time MBA. Since it's a degree program, we can only charge non-degree programs. And we have this as a degree one, so it's tuition-free. And we also play scholarships for students based on the scholarships that the Ministry of Education, mainly CAPES and CNPq or FAPERJ, that is the foundation from Rio, invest on this kind of initiative. The full-time MBA, so it's a hybrid model. Why is important for you to understand there is a hybrid model? Because we are going to have the two best things of different products inside the same product. By one hand, you have the characteristics of a master degree as we have in Brazil. It's a degree that offers you research capability. And why is it important nowadays? Are you living on a artificial intelligence environment? Of course you are. When you are talking about research, we are talking about high analytical capabilities and critical thinking. So since our foundation, we believe that a differentiated professional in the market needs to have these two skills. They need to think critically, and they need to be very good in analytics to understand the decision that they must make. So that the master degree will give you these perspectives. The MBA one is an MBA full-time, not specifically on the time that you are scheduled for being here for classes. All the classes will be by the morning, but you need to have dedication to study because all the material from the full-time MBA will be offered to you in advance. You are going to receive everything in advance and to prepare yourself to the classroom so you can come to COPPEAD, had already been studied the cases that you were assigned to that class, so you can arrive here prepared for that discussion. So we are going to put together theory from the market and the practice, the cases, the practical perspective from the MBA. You are going to have the national and the international perspective. It's an internationalized program, but with focus also in Brazil in understanding our context and seeing how the things works here. And it's also generalistic, and you also have an expertise in that course. Generalistic because you are on a full-time MBA. MBA means Master in Business Administration. So you are supposed to know the base of everything in management. You need to understand marketing, strategy, operation systems, finance, and so on. So you need to have a huge vocabulary and a good comprehension of the concepts in a general perspective. But when you're going to do the research, and also when you are choosing the elective program that you are preferring to attend, you are going to expertise, you are going to have the opportunity to choose what do you prefer to study. So it's a kind of unique perspective on the words of Ulysses that is in our alumni here that brings you an analytical mindset and ability to manage with complexity, because when you have the critical thinking, you are going to analyze everything also with the forest perspective, analyzing which is the context behind the situation that you are studying on. The cost, as I told you, it's free, but you need to cost your housing, transportation, educational material. Most of the time we give you the case, but sometimes you would prefer to, for example, to buy a book. We have books here on the library, but sometimes you prefer to buy something, so you need to afford that. And additional activities like entertainment and your own life here in Rio. The full-time MBA, it's 540 hours of classes divided in 4 terms. So we have blocks of 10 weeks and 1 week of break between each block. So you are going to have the classes all organized in the morning, and in 1 year, you're going to complete all the credits that you must take. Our professors, we only have people from the top working with us. So everybody's PhD, internationally trained that goes to Harvard for the case study program, that did postdoc research abroad, that goes abroad for conferences with high standards. up to date in reading, in cases, in market trends, and with a very rigorous perspective on the classroom, because we believe that since we are boutique school, we need to be very differentiated and to have excellence in everything that we do. Our research lines are divided on three perspectives: business administration and economics, decision-making, behavior, and ethics, training, growth, transformation of business organization, and socioeconomic systems. In our website, we can read the detailed perspective of all this research, this three research lines, to choose the one that you seems to prefer by the beginning. It's very natural that someone enter at COPPEAD and then discover that I thought I was from finance, but now I'm realizing that I really like strategy and I like to change. Okay, we can try to accommodate that, but if you have places for your area, so you must look the research area to look the research lines to think which is the one that you would like to do. The course structure. On the first year, you are going to have mainly disciplines. You are going to have the mandatory courses and the elective ones. The mandatory is going to be on the first 2 terms, remembering that a term is a block of 10 weeks. And the elective ones start on the second one and come until the 4th one. By the end of this year, you are going to start the research, your dissertation by itself, being allocated to an advisor, and then your research capability is going to be developed during that time mainly. On the second year, you are going to continue your research. Maybe you can do an MBA internship if you'd like to work for 2 to 4 months in a company to do a summer job and see your approach to that organization, see if you like. Some of our students got full-time employment at these institutions later also. You have pre-thesis. If you want to go to an exchange program, you can also go. We have one benefit from COPPEAD is that we have a very good network of partner schools all around the world. So you can go also without any kind of charge, free, to that universities to study on the second period of the second year. You can go through this kind of experience. And by the end, you're going to have the defense deadline for your dissertation. You're going to present your dissertation, your research to a committee, and you're going to have a networking event to present you to the market and to help you on your employability. So to summarize, it's an immersive in deep learning. You need to really focus on this. Can I work during this period? Yes, you can, but your priority needs to be COPPEAD. You're going to have classes during morning. So if you work, you need to have an agreement with your employer to liberate you to attend to the classes. And then you need also to study to the classes that are sometimes on the next day. We give you the material, all the material, at least with 1 week in advance. So you have everything already organized for you, but you need to prepare. So you need to organize your time to study and be prepared for classes here. Sometimes it's a nice place also to see new horizons, to take a break, or at least reduce our rhythm, to develop ourselves and to see that our career can have an exponential growth in a situation like that. I was not making some splitted course to get in touch with knowledge all the time, but I'm investing my time on a very good formation for me to give me a base that I'm going to bring to my whole life to be a differentiated professional. So our logic is that logic. So it's an intensive learning routine. Discipline is crucial. If you organize yourself, you can do it. If you do not organize it, it's going to be a problem. The classroom experience so is based on your preparation at home. You are going to study the material in advance. For example, if you have numbers, you are going to make a financial analysis of the case that you are studying on, or reflecting on a marketing campaign, and etc. And then we are going to arrive at the classroom already prepared for that discussion. So me, Elaine, I'm a designer. I have a design perspective. I'm also I also consider myself an IT person. So I have this kind of background, and I'm going to see a case with my background. When I'm discussing a colleague, there is a lawyer from Spain. His perspective is going to be totally different from the cases. So when you go together to the classroom to share the discussion and to share the reflections, it's very enriching because we see other perspectives, that other kind of knowledge, and we have everything moderated by a professor that is specialized in bringing you to the place that the professor wants you to be, to bring the theory together, but not in a massive way, but in a way that you reflect about what you are learning. We have other activities like projecting multicultural teams, consulting activity that students from COPPEAD do with the students from University of San Diego, supervised by a professor from here and a professor from San Diego. You also have the MBA internship, that is the opportunity to do summer jobs during the break. So you go to the enterprise to develop a project, not 1 week project as the project in multicultural teams are, but 4 months projects. So you get in touch and put something really interesting in your curriculum before leaving. And we have the international experience. How can we think about the international experience at COPPEAD? First of all, the international classroom experience. We have people coming from other countries to study as regular students with us. So probably you are going to have in your classroom colleagues from China, from other countries that are going to share their perspective with you. The material that you are going to receive totally in English, most of them produced abroad, and we are going to discuss the worldwide perspectives of the situation. We have the opportunity to go abroad. You have the opportunity to go to SEIBS in China, to Bocconi in Italy, to Instituto de Empresas in Madrid, to go to Wharton in US. So you have top universities that you go to study for free. Here are some listed schools, very good French schools also, school from Denmark, school from Mexico, school from Lisbon, from Canada. So we have partners all over the world, 40 partners, and you go if you want. It's on the second year, and you can apply to go to the exchange to the exchange program or not. And on the second half of the first year, you are also going to receive on your cohort the students from these schools to come to study with us. So on the second half of the first year, COPPEAD got like a United Nations perspective, because we have people from different countries inside the classroom, and it's really challenging and also fun to see you being developed with this multicultural perspective. Research, as I told you, is a research oriented to practice, oriented to a research that is applicable to the market, some research that, so after that, when you leave COPPEAD, you are going to write much better, you are going to sustain your arguments much better, to present your points much better, to have the analytical capability because you had a scientific method to do that. You received some tools to analyze your material. You have supervision of your advisor to do that, and also the capability to think critically, as I told you. The thesis, you're going to have this organized on 12 4 months. Of course, by the beginning, you are more focused on the courses that you are taking, but you also have time to reflect about what you're going to develop as a dissertation. And then by the end of the first year, you are going to start this development, and by the end of 24 months, you need to present this to an external committee and to receive your diploma by the end. And then we go back to the job market. We have a very good employability for our students. Of course, there are some guys that are getting excellent jobs, some guys that are getting jobs, but not necessarily so good as the first ones. So you need to study, to develop yourself, to invest your time on your own development. So you're going to be to have the project of your job employability as you dream. You have a career development course to help you on thinking about who you are, what do you want for you, what are your competence, what do you need to develop to be to arrive better on the market by the end. You also have the MBA internship and the networking meeting to help you in the contact with the market to help on this employability by the end. Now let's talk about the application. First of all, I ask you to read the public notice that we publish at the website of COPPEAD. It's really important for you to understand the rules. Since we are a public university, it's a public application, so we don't have a lot of flexibility. You need to follow the rules, to respect the calendar, to do this application. So in the public notice, you have all the information regarding the application, and also you have a complementary ordinance where we have the calendar for the year of application that you are intending on. So the calendar for 2025 is already published also on our website, and we cannot admit an application missing documents or out of the date. So please be very careful with that. We used to have young professionals with at least 3 years of professional experience here, and who wish to develop high quality managerial skills with us. So we are going to offer a solid academic background. You must have motivation to advanced studies. We don't want a student here that just want to be here, someone that is really motivated to study and to develop itself is the kind of profile that we look for. Teamwork skills, if you don't have it, you need to be open to develop it because we are going to work on teams all the time. When you discuss a case, when you do a work for a course, when you organize yourselves to the job market, all the times we are doing this with our colleagues. So teamwork skills, something that we developed and we need you to do. And the mastery in English also, because it's very nice to see that English is a platform. In Brazil, it's not everybody that speaks English really well. We have accent, we have mistakes, we are not a native speaker, but it doesn't matter. It's just a platform of communication. But when you study at COPPEAD, you are going to speak English during 2 years, and your English is going to be much better when you leave our program also. So it's an extra of the program. So the graduation here, the background from students is very splitted. You have people from business and engineering, you have people from humanities, we have doctors, we have people from pharmacy, we have lawyers, we have businesses is an area of knowledge that makes sense for a lot of people. Nationality, around 7 to 10% of each cohort is a regular foreign student, and we also have the exchange students coming. Gender, we are much more male than female nowadays. It's something that we are looking for the equilibrium. Our goal is to achieve 50 to 50. So please, we'd like the girls to apply. And the age range, the youngest one from the last cohort is 22 years old. The older one is 50 years old. But we are not worried with age. We are worried with people that want to develop themselves. And if you have some professional experience, it's much better for the discussion. Of course, if you don't have it, okay, you can also come, it's not a problem. We are going to learn a lot, but the professional experience will also add. So please be very welcome, having or not having this experience. The vacancy, we have 44 places, 22 for GMAT and 22 for AMPAD and an English proficiency test. Later, we can discuss a little bit the kind of tests that the difference between these two tests, but that's the grade that we must achieve to enter using GMAT or via AMPAD and an English proficiency test. It's a line of entrance, so you must take the minimum score to enter. When we have also places reserved to Black, Brown, Indigenous people, and places with for people with disabilities also. If you are an English native speaker application, or you did your undergraduation on an English speaker country, you cannot, you can also apply without having the English proficiency test, okay? The key dates for GMAT are here. The first selection we had already finished, but it's not a problem. It's just a small selection for the first places for that cohort. The volume of places, the highest volume of places we used to allocate on the second selection. So you have, if you are taking the GMAT, until November 22nd to do the application, okay? Our classes is gonna start on February 17 from the next year. And if you are applying via AMPAD and an English proficiency test, you can send your results until December 16th. So please, considering that deadline, do not lose deadlines, because we cannot include people that send the results later. Documents, the test scores, your curriculum, your diploma, documents that support your professional experience. They are listed on the public notice, so you can see which kind of document we accept. And for mothers who had children the last 5 years, also the child birth certificate, because they have a multiplier factor in the public notice. Okay, here once more the deadlines: November 22 for GMAT, December 16 for AMPAD. And you need to do this via our website. we have the sponsorships, the scholarships, as I told you. When you enter, we have scholarships available. Nowadays, I cannot say that we're going to have scholarships for everybody, but at the cohort 20,000, we have scholarships for everybody. So it's working well. The number of scholarships are sufficient. And if you have any question, you can just send us an email, send a WhatsApp message, or send me an email, elaine.tavares@coppead.ufrj.br. So thank you very much for your time, for getting in touch with us. And now we can discuss and try to clarify the doubts that maybe you have. You can speak in Portuguese or in English, whatever you want.
Can you hear me? Consegue me escutar?
Yeah?
English ou português? Não sei se tem gente inglesa aqui, acho que interessa. Eu fui inglês, então. During the first semester, the mandatories, like some students work part-time at least? Is it possible or isn't?
Yes, it's
I've
possible.
been thinking seriously about that because
Yeah,
in the same time, as you say, I wanna take the maximum of the program especially during the first semester. But also, I'm thinking about working part time, like maybe speaking with my boss, something like that, because the program is like really good for my area of the law. So I don't know if there are some students that can work part time. So that's my question.
I got it. I'm going to present my perspective as the coordinator, and I will ask Pedro and Felipe to present their perspective as the one that suffered with this recently. I can assure you that you are going to have a very hard time of study, but I did my PhD working. So for me, if you organize yourself and you negotiate with your boss, you are able to do that. But of course, it depends on the kind of work that you have. For example, during the first semester, probably you are going to have times, classes all the days during the morning. It's the mandatory courses. We have a lot of things to give to you during that period, a lot of concepts to transfer. So it's harder on the first semester. When you go to the elective ones on the second semester, things are more flexible because you can choose the elective courses considering also your not only your interest but also your agenda. So you can try to organize your time better because you are not supposed to be here specifically that day because you have a mandatory course. You have the elective ones, and then you are going to come to COPPEAD 2 or 3 times a week on the second semester. But on the first one, you are going to have classes most of the time during the whole morning, every day from Monday to Friday, and then you can go to your work and to do something, but you also have material to read. So probably during the night or during your weekend, you need to prepare everything to get prepared in advance. Pedro or Felipe, do you want to correct me or to add something?
I think you got everything right. It's the same thing I say to everyone. The first semester is of mandatory classes is are quite hard. I've seen some people managing to uh, study and work at the same time. The most successful ones were the ones that were working part time. the ones that were working like 8 hours a day, they struggled a lot to manage everything, but they managed to do it by the end of the semester, but in some way they had to do some sacrifices. They did not manage to see their family a lot. They were not their best at the work. They were not enjoying the full experience at COPPEAD. So it's possible, but you will lose some things. Uh, you can't take everything and be good at everything. So that's the take. And for the second semester, I no one struggled for sure. It was quite possible to study and work. Many people, it's possible to do their own agenda, their own calendar. So it was much easier to work during the second semester.
Thank you. Felipe, something to add?
For sure, it is full time for a reason, right? So you gotta have a very supportive boss, and you got to be prepared and motivated. The key word here is very motivated. I like Pedro said, you're gonna have to let other things go, and you're not gonna regret. For me specifically, I had to be away from my family. I had to work until midnight, because if I went further, I could not go for COPPEAD by the morning. So I was very tired to go. So it's very demanding because the program is tough. Very smart people from everywhere. So you better be prepared. Although it's possible. In my case, I have worked throughout the first year. So yeah, very demanding, but you can go fine.
Thank you. Paula?
Hello. Thank you, Elaine, for explaining. I am very excited for this program. I have a question regarding entrepreneurial experiences because I'm an entrepreneur myself, and I was looking for an MBA where I could explore more my business idea and get more into that. I know that some programs that are like international, they have that sort of um, experience. And I was wondering if COPPEAD would also have like opportunities for me to explore that side, or if it's more like for, corporate positions.
Paula, we are not an entrepreneurial school, but we intend to be. So you are going to help us on that. What does it mean? COPPEAD as a traditional business school, it was created as a corporate with a corporate perspective to send people to enterprises and so on. But we know that nowadays it doesn't make sense, and it's really important for us to develop this. So we had just created at school a lab for entrepreneur and in innovation, called Laboratório de Empreendedorismo e Inovação. We had just created this. It's the inauguration of that lab is going to be in a couple of weeks. So you are very welcome. I think as an entrepreneur, what's going to happen? You are going to develop a very, very good base for conduct your business, because it's not necessarily the reality that you are going to apply for a corporate position, but you need to have a good formation in business, in management, to deal with the challenge that you have. So you're going to be very well developed. And I think one interesting point is also to do something related to your business in the research dissertation that you must do it. So you can try to study your business as a case for COPPEAD also. Felipe and
Thank you so much.
I think every cohort has from 1 to 5 entrepreneurs. So the current cohort has Hobson, which is an entrepreneur. My cohort, we had 2 or 3 people from fashion. And every cohort has someone with an entrepreneurial background or that is a current entrepreneur, and people like it a lot. So I can talk about one of my friends from my classes, and what she said was she's from fashion, so she did not have many business background. She did awesome at her company on the market side, marketing. People loved her brand, but she struggled a lot with operations because she did not know much about that. And she said, "Oh, if I had taken this class before and going to creating my company, I would not have struggled as much." So, and we have many successful cases. So Leila from Beleza Natural attended COPPEAD, for example, and she probably she talks a lot good about COPPEAD, so she isn't even connected now with COPPEAD, if I'm not wrong, on the board. So we have a lot of entrepreneurs that attended COPPEAD and they enjoyed their experience here.
Yeah. Maybe, Pedro, one thing that we could do to Paula is to put her in contact with the guys that are entrepreneur and studying now, like talking to Robson or to the girls that are the fashion from your cohort. Could you help me on that?
Of course, send me a message, Paula, on LinkedIn. Pedro Schettini. There are not many people with this name.
Thank you, Pedro. Pedro is like Pedro and Felipe are kind of angels that they graduate at COPPEAD and they conduct the pre-COPPEAD. There was something that I forgot to talk, but Pedro, maybe you are the guy to present it. Let's just clarify the doubts and then you talk about the pre-COPPEAD. That is a good opportunity for the guys to know also. More questions? Gustavo?
Hello, Elaine. Thank you for the presentation. Regarding the research lines, is it possible to change it during the course?
Yes, it is. I cannot guarantee that you are going to have places. It depends on the size of our cohort. But if you have places in other lines, you can change. And most important, what does the research line means clearly? First of all, it's a bureaucratic thing. The public ministry in Brazil asked us to put a research line on the public notice. I do not agree with that. I don't like it because everybody has the right to change their perspective and to want to study other things. So as we can, we try to accommodate the change in research lines. In fact, what I have is professors that has some places for advisor. So, for example, I have 2 places to advise students in the full-time MBA at this cohort. So if you want to study with me and nobody from this research line is looking for me, there is any problem in changing and receiving you to study with me. If I only have 2 places and I have 2 persons from the research line, I must prioritize that person's instead of changing you from the research line. The main problem is that, but it's something that we were obligated by law to do, but I don't think it makes sense. So we try to accommodate always.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. More doubts?
Yes, I have a question regarding the basis of business. You said it's good that for us to have, because I come from marketing. I studied at ECO, UFRJ. So I'm concerned that my basis is not enough for the course.
Don't worry. Don't
Oh,
worry.
okay.
Let me tell you something. I used to be a designer when I started my MSc in management. We know that most of people are not from business by the beginning, and we don't want people 100% being from business because it would be boring to have people with the same perspective all the time. I want engineering, I want doctor, I want people from the therapy, I want people from architecture, from arts, and so on. So we have here a very diverse program. I have, for example, on 2 years ago, an actor studying with us. I have Felipe, that is from law. Pedro is production engineering. So we have people from ECHO. So don't worry at all. The mandatory courses are that the objective is to give you the base to follow ahead. So don't worry with this, okay?
Okay, perfect. And you also commented about that you could say more about the differences between GMAT and UNPAD. So I don't know if you could maybe give some short explanation about the difference between them. It would help a lot.
Of course. GMAT is a course where you're going to face the math in English and the English together inside the same test. So you have quantitative reasoning and English inside the same test. Advantage, you don't have oral speaking. You have a written proposal that does not make sense for us. We don't see that result. So when you take the GMAT, you are going to do just one test. When you go to UNPAD plus an English proficiency test, Pedro and Felipe can correct me, but I never took UNPAD, okay? So I myself only took the GMAT. So when you go to UNPAD, I think the math part is going to be easier, but you also have to do the other tests like TOEFL and so on. So you need to take 2 courses because of that. That's my opinion regarding that course, but I think I would try to recommend you that you take some time to compare questions from different tests and to see which kind of test do you think it's better for you. Pedro is the specialist on that thing. Go ahead.
Okay, so I agree with what Elaine said at the end. The best thing to do is to try it, take some GMAT samples, take some test and pad samples, take some TOEFL samples, and see how they feel to you, how you react to them. Usually, I only recommend GMAT for people that have a very good background in math. And I'm not saying about engineers should do GMAT because from my cohort, one of the higher scores on GMAT came from my friend that is from fashion, but even though her university degree were not math related, she was very good at math since high school. So she went for the GMAT and it was good for her. So, but I see many people struggling with time in GMAT because you have to answer a question in 2 minutes. And if you are not very, do not have a very good core in math, you are probably going to struggle a little with GMAT. So that's why most people find it easier to go for the test UNPAD. And the trade-off is, well, if most people go for test UNPAD, then there are gonna be more places left on the GMAT because most people are going for the test UNPAD. And that's what we saw in the all of the last applications for COPPEAD. GMAT, if you get this score on GMAT, you're in basically. And if you are on the test UNPAD, you are gonna have to need a good score because most people are gonna use this exam to enter. So that's the trade.
When I took the
Okay, thank you.
GMAT, when the test finished, there was still 10 questions to answer for me. So I marked everything like letter A, and I I got the grade that I needed, but it was very stressing. The pressure of time is very stressing at GMAT. And one possibility is to take all of the exams, but of course it's expensive. And since this kind of exams is a kind of training for the exams by itself, not necessarily how good you are in something, but how you are used to that kind of exam. So probably you can focus on a kind of exam, and if you don't got a result that you think that is working, you can change also for the other one. We had this kind of people preparing for the GMAT and did not got the result, and then moved back to MPAD and did it. It worked. So maybe it's a possibility also. We don't want to say go this way because I think it's a very personal decision. It's just trying to give some information, considering the experience that we have. But I strongly recommend that you take a look on both tests and see which one is better for you.
Thank you. I saw some questions of GMAT online and I got a little bit scared, but I will take a better look. Thank you.
Welcome. What more, guys? Someone asked on the chat about the employability. In fact, our questionnaire survey regarding employability is based on levels of how much money people receive, and I don't like this kind of things because you have a not a precise answer, but a kind of estimation. Maybe Pedro and Felipe can have also a more up-to-date information because they left 2 years or 1 year ago. But I can tell you that everybody got a job. Sometimes you have some problems during the networking week because we use it to have a networking week, but most of you got a job during the course. So when you go to the networking week, it was it to be very few students to a whole week. So we compressed this and did how can I say? Café da manhã? I forgot.
Breakfast.
A breakfast meeting. So it was, I think it's a good indicator since you have already been employed. It was reduced to just a day with some hours of contact to the enterprise. But I think that the range varies a lot because you have people that has more maturity and people that has a professional background and people that had just lived under graduation and is more unexperienced. So it will change. I cannot say be calm and they're going to receive 2,000 reais, 20,000 reais by the end because it's not necessarily the truth. Do Pedro or
Elaine, maybe I can complement. I think it was Bruno's question, right? Right, Bruno? Well, I recently graduated from the MBA program, and everyone in my cohort they got a new job or a job for those ones that were starting their career. I can tell you for sure you're gonna have lots of opportunities. In the first week on the program, I received like 3 opportunities of new work. So the hardest part for me, at least, was choosing what was meaningful for me at the time. So I went through this process of applying for an MBA because COPPEAD offers you an opportunity to tailor your own path. I was pivoting career at the time, and to find myself and find a place for me in the market was hard. So I didn't take any opportunities. And then last year, during this breakfast that COPPEAD makes with the market, job market, I had another door open for a new path as well, but I didn't take it because the opportunity cost was that I was going to go abroad for Bocconi. I got an opportunity to go abroad through COPPEAD to study for over 6 months in Bocconi University in Milan, Italy. So this year I had new opportunities as well, and I can say that only me, I didn't get a new job, but I still got my old job and lots of opportunities.
Thank you. You are having lunch right now. Everybody discovered that. And thank you very much for sharing your lunchtime with us.
Okay, so there are some questions about how long you should take to apply or to prepare. I have sent a link about in which we have some tests and pad samples. You can use that to prepare for yourselves. And how long you should prepare? I mean, you need to take the exam and get the grade. Some people do this in a month. Some people take 3 to 4 months. So the sooner you start preparing, the better. And we Test and Pad has opened like yesterday for the September exam. So you should definitely sign up for that. It's gonna be on the last Sunday of September. And the way to prepare is to take previous exams and become more familiar with the text, with the exam. So that's how you prepare for Test and Pad. Test and Pad is the cheaper of all the exams, so that's why it's quite possible to just take the September one. But I would not recommend to just take the GMAT and the TOEFL without preparation, because these exams are way more expensive. So I would not just take the exam. So that's what I would recommend. Uh, uh, so 1 month usually is enough preparation for Test and Pad, but some people demand a little more, some people demand a little less. It always depends on how much time you have each day to study for the exam. So if you have 2 hours for a month every day, it's good. If you have way less than that, maybe it will not be enough. It depends on your background, how familiar you are with the subjects, and also how much time you have to prepare.
And maybe you can try to do this on PAD by the end of September, and then focus on the TOEFL to get the grade until December to the application. Take a look, because sometimes you need to do a print screen or to enter on the system by the end, mainly for GMAT, to take the previous research result, because they take some time to liberate the official results. We are having some difficulties here to receive the final result, but we are accepting the print screen or the screen that comes from the system after your login to show the grade that you achieved, okay? More questions, guys?
Yeah. Do you recommend any specific English proficiency test, or doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter. We open this in 3 possibilities just for you to choose the cheaper one, because sometimes you know that it's expensive to take this kind of exam, and sometimes people had already took this on the past, so it doesn't make sense to ask for a new one. we had just focused on the on tests that were comparable and were really recognized as tests because we know that, for example, I will not give examples because we are being recorded, but there are some tests that are not so serious, so we preferred the ones that we can really trust. But you can take whatever you want, okay?
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, Mariana reinforced here at the chat that we accept Cambridge, TOEFL, and IELTS. Okay. So it's important, guys, to read the public notice. We know that it's boring. It's a lot of information inside, but take a careful read on that so you understand the process of application. Felipe put that to download. Thank you. And I'm also here at COPPEAD. If you want to visit the school, come here to know the building. It's a beautiful school, very, very comfortable installations. Sometimes people got impressed when they arrive, say, wow, it's beautiful. When we're in Brazil, we are used to think about public buildings there as places that are sometimes needing some investments. But here we invest on our installation and we are going to have a good place to study, a good infrastructure. So if you want to come to visit, you are very welcome. Just send a message that saying that you are that you intend to visit and we schedule that for you. If you had any doubt later, just send me a message and we can also talk by phone if you have some specific situation that you'd like to discuss, okay?
I'm sorry, where is the COPPEAD building? Is in the Cidade Universitária? Fundão.
Yes. Is that
All the
Fundão?
classes are there.
Yeah. And believe me, it's a nice place. When I came here to work, I thought it was not so central, but you can arrive. Fundão, in fact, is very central if you think the whole city. It's a good place to come. Most of the time, you are not going to face exactly the same traffic jam lines. You are going to be on the other part of the traffic. So depends, of course, where you came from, but it's easier than I thought. And a beautiful campus. I've been working here for 12 years now, and I like it. I use it to work at Botafogo, and I spent more time on the traffic going to Botafogo than coming to Fundão. Something more, guys? No? So thank you very much for coming. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Sorry about my English mistakes. It's just to let you comfortable and to understand that everybody can speak as the English goes, because sometimes I used to be thinking in advance and the mouth does not accompany very well what I'm trying to say, but I'm very well with that. I'm not getting worried about my mistakes. It's just a platform of communication and everybody has the right to speak a little bit with mistakes. Thank you, Fernanda. It's good to know that you could understand. So thank you very much. See you. Lazaro wants to speak a little bit. We can keep on the chat if you on the Zoom meeting if you prefer. Okay? And see you guys. Thank you, Felipe. Thank you for Pedro. Thank you for Frederic to come. Our community
pleasure, teacher.
represented.